In 2017, XRP did something that turned $1,000 into $70,000 in just a few months. Right now, I'm seeing the same exact pattern forming again, and almost nobody is talking about it. What's even more interesting is that the signs are actually stronger this time. In this video, I'm going to show you what happened during the XRP 7,000% rise and how it could predict what is going to happen next. I'll show you exactly what caused that massive move, and more importantly, why the current setup is showing three key similarities that nobody else is discussing. These are the same patterns that helped me predict NVIDIA's 200% move and SMCI 240% breakout. But before we dive in, make sure to grab my free investment playbook from the link in the description when you sign up for the newsletter. It will reveal my most profitable strategies, the one that I use to bring you all the information in this video. So now let's get into why XRP might be setting up for potentially one of the biggest moves yet. So when we look at XRP in 2017, we see a base that went from 2015 to 2017. That is 2 years of waiting. Nothing was happening in the stock. So what happens? It first breaks out, and we see the first breakout here. It does 700%. So if you put in $1,000, you will have $8,000. And then what happens next? So it sits down for about 4 weeks. And then after that, it goes up another 1,000%. So if you put in $1,000, you're getting out $13,000. What happens after that? We see almost a whole year base, and then it finally breaks out again to do another 1,000%. So if you put in $1,000 in this last move, you would have gotten $10,000. But this whole move was about 70,000%. So if you put in $1,000, you're getting $700,000 out. But of course, as we know, a lot of people were not going to get this big move because they just don't know a lot about the technical analysis. And also, before I go any further, I want to let you guys know that I inherently don't believe in crypto. I think cryptocurrencies are a Ponzi scheme that are bound to crash in the future. I don't fully believe that they will stand the test of time, but at the same time, I cannot deny that as a speculator, they do provide a lot of opportunities to increase your wealth. But what does that mean? That means that these are not really investments. These are speculations. And when you're speculating, the biggest goal is to not lose money. The biggest goal is to know when to get out after you've made your profit. It's not a buy and hold thing. So some good signs that we can see is we see very tight price action on the weekly chart. Tight price action on low volume means that nobody is selling. So we see that here in these bases, we see something called a shakeout. So this is something called a shakeout, and you must know it as an investor. When whales try to scare out retail investors, so they push the price down. On the weekly chart, it looks very clean, but what actually happens is that during the week, they will push the price down so that they scare out a lot of retail investors, and then they get it for cheap. And what happens after a lot of these shakeouts is that the price jumps up. So shakeouts are a good sign. Very tight price action is a good sign. So we see a shakeout, tight price action, breakout. Then we see here, we don't really see a lot of shakeouts, but we see a lot of tight price action, low volume. That means nobody is selling. Breakout on huge volume. That is a very good sign. So what happens again? We see 2018 to 2025. We see a big base. This is how many years? 7 years. Nothing has happened. You saw here, there was about a 3-year base, and you see what happened, 70,000%. This time, we see something very similar. So we see a very huge breakout here on volume. That is a very good sign. We like to see big volume. You can see it down here. I color code my bars as well on the weekly chart, which means that whenever you see a green bar, because it's supposed to be blue, that means that the volume in that green bar has met my heavy volume criteria. And from my studies of something called impulse waves are these big moves up. So this is an impulse wave. These are what we call impulse waves. What I learned from studying these big moves is that what normally happens is that there's a first impulse wave up, then there is a correction to the 10-week simple moving average, and then we have another move up. That is what normally happens. Sometimes we have just a very huge move up like this, but that is not the case a lot of the times. So here, what are we seeing? We see this very big breakout on volume. That is a very good sign. So of course, if you're an XRP, you'd have gotten very good money by now because it has currently gone up about 350%. So if you put in $1,000, you probably have about $4,000, $4,500, which is a very good return. But for those who haven't yet got in, you can still profit. Because remember, here we first saw a 680% move, but then after we saw a 1,000% move. So it's never too late on these very big multi-year breakouts. Because whenever you see price breaking out on these multi-year breakouts, that is a very good sign. So after seeing the very big trends and we've seen all the shakeouts and everything that happens, we know all the good signs that we must be waiting for. Let us apply them to the current day to see what is going to be good for us. So after looking at the weekly chart, what we have to do is now go into the daily chart so that we can see where exactly we can get in. So here on the daily chart, now let me expand it. We are seeing shakeouts. You see all these shakeouts here? Those are very good signs. People are being shaken out. Then after those shakeouts, we get this breakout, this very good impulse wave on strong volume. And then you see here, after it reaches here, it is actually not correcting as much as other cryptocurrencies, because remember, stocks and commodities, they move in groups. So if you see cryptocurrencies moving, they're actually rhyming with one another. So the goal is always to follow the biggest or the primary market, and the primary market is Bitcoin. So if we look at the charts of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and others, you can see something interesting. Okay, if we look at the chart of Bitcoin, we see that, okay, it has also broken out to see its impulse wave, and then it's not breaking this support over here. But currently, it's also looking very good. So I like Bitcoin as well. If we look at Ethereum, it is not as good as Bitcoin because it didn't break out to all-time highs. We like to see all-time highs because all-time highs means there's nobody who is angry that's waiting to dump the stock. And then the correction is much deeper, which is not a good sign. You see the Bitcoin correction is not so deep. It's shallow. XRP is shallow. But if you look at Ethereum, very good. Binance, I don't want to touch this. You can see the shakeouts too. Goes up. It's not a very good one because it's just so volatile, right? So it makes it very hard to just sit back and relax, because a big part in investing, this is rather speculating, but a lot of people call it investing. This is not investing. This is speculation. A big part in speculation is how calm you are, because imagine you put 100,000 and then it goes down 30%. So you already lost $30,000, which is very big loss. We put Solana, which I initially liked, and I recommended it to my subscribers, as you can see, but we can see that it has pulled back, right? And the correction is way deeper than XRP and Bitcoin. Compared to all of the big cryptos, XRP is showing one of the best patterns. And then after it's showing that pattern, let's look deeper into what's happening. We see shakeouts here. We all know shakeouts are a good sign. And then we see like a small cup and handle as well here. That is also another good sign. That is a pattern. A lot of the knowledge that I share in this video is from my newsletter. I share everything I know, and everything that I'm sharing with you right now is just bits and nits from there. But if you want to study the whole system, you want to subscribe to the newsletter to fully understand everything. So here we just apply the knowledge to real life in order to put some money into our bank accounts. We see our mini cup and handle. We see something called a cheat here, a very tight price action, low volume, and then it jumps out. Ideally, we like to see this jump out with volume, and it's not happening here. And the reason why I think it's not happening is that if you look at other cryptocurrencies, they're just not ready to break out again yet. Now, they're still forming their base information, and XRP is like being that kid that wants to go ahead of the bus. So what normally happens is that if one is trying to move above the others, it will start forming up these patterns, but then it is not really going to go out. It's going to try to form some other pattern here. It's very rare that I see that only one of the cryptocurrencies or one of the stocks in the industry will move far more than everybody else. What normally happens is that it will start doing some weird shit over here, which might not scare you out, and it will create more buying opportunities as it waits for the others to catch up. And then they're all going to be breaking out together, as we saw here. So here it moved, Bitcoin moved as well, Ethereum moved. So they all moved together. You see, Binance moved, of course, not as much. Solana did move, but XRP did the best. So it's showing very nice tight price action. If you want to know exactly when to get in and out of these things, please subscribe to the newsletter. If you found value to this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. Thank you.